Hello there, Qckslvrslash, and today I have a review for you of the Tier 2 Premium American Destroyer, the USS Smith. It's currently available on the North American servers online in the shop, and I picked it up for myself because it was only $6 and I'm a bit of a completionist as far as my harbor goes. I like collecting all the vessels and having them to play. So this is going to serve as my opinion on it, whether or not it's worth it, and how to make the best of it. As you can see right away, survivability is only an 8, 7,300 hit points. This actually puts it much more in line with the Tachibana rather than the Umikaze. There's a lot of people out there who absolutely love the Umikaze, but even just a quick glance at the stats, in everything, the Umikaze is better. It has longer range torpedoes, better concealment, better maneuverability, better AA. Not that AA is a thing that really matters at Tier 2, especially now with the +-1 tier matchmaking. You're never going to see a Tier 4 carrier. The Umikaze even has better artillery. Whereas when you compare it to the Tachibana, you know, the Tachibana has 7,000 hit points, the Smith has 7,300. The Tachibana's artillery is very much similar to the Smith's in that they're the same 76 millimeters. Sorry, the Smith has 76.2 millimeters. And their torpedoes are very much the same, and the Tachibana's got a little bit better concealment, but I feel the Smith may be a better ship. I've had a rough time trying to play the Tachibana. I got it as a free ship for completing an in-game mission, and other than some laughs and a couple friends using it as a way of like punishing me when I want to drive my Mikasa, I haven't seen much use out of it. So what does that mean for the Smith? Well, you can bring 4 guns to any side. You have 1 up on the bow, 2 waist deck guns, and then 2 guns back aft. So you do have potentially 4 guns. Unfortunately, they don't rotate 360 from what I've seen, so the rear ones can be a little slow to get around. They're 180 degree turn times, 18 seconds, which in a destroyer as maneuverable as this, they really don't keep up to the hull's turn rate. However, with the basic fire training, they do have a reload of 3.1 seconds. And stock, they have a 6.5 kilometer range. If you get advanced fire training, if you have a 4-skill captain, you can push that to 7.8. Which, if you then have an even more skilled captain and run the Tier 5 concealment skill, you can push this down, and technically the Smith can stealth fire. Now, I don't know that that's really what you want to be doing in the ship, because the maximum HE damage is 1100. There's not really a high chance of fire, and these guns just do not seem to perform. Which leaves the torpedoes. She's got a bit of a unique setup in that she has 3 single tube torpedo launchers, 1 on each beam and 1 back in the aft. The arcs on these are really good. The 2 forward ones can fire about 15 degrees off the bow either side, and the rear one can fire to about, I'd say, 45 degrees off the bow, which you'll see in some gameplay later. They only have a 4.5 kilometer range, 54 knot top speed, but they do a maximum damage of 6,000, which at this tier is deadly. And with the Tier 2 captain skill for reload, every 9.9 seconds you can fire a torpedo. So on average, if you're, spacing your torps out, that's 1 torpedo on each side, or on a side, every 5 seconds. And you can get massive damage, as I'm going to show you with a bit of gameplay. As I already said, nothing to really speak of for AA. She's quite maneuverable, though her speed leaves a little to be desired. Her rudder shift is very quick, and she is responsive, which is great for those torpedoes. You can do a little wiggle of the button, basically fire straight ahead. And as mentioned before, 5.6 kilometer detectability, 7.9 after firing, The concealment skill at tier 5, as I can show you by switching out to my Fletcher captain, who is a far superior captain, brings it down to 5 kilometers and 7.3, which means if you also had that tier 4 skill, you would have half a kilometer of stealth fire, essentially, which could be a rather unique experience at tier 2, but I would not buy this ship for that, because this captain has an immense amount of games in him, and you're not buying a tier 2 vessel to throw your tier 9 captain into. So I'll go on to get some gameplay, and I'll try to talk about some of the strengths and weaknesses of this ship and give my overall feeling. So first up, in the replays we join myself, Flying Goomba, and Savea, all driving our brand new Smiths for some gameplay on the Islands map. It's a tier 3 battle, and this is kind of us getting to know the ships. Having driven the Tachibana, I have a kind of feel for how this thing may play, and I'm hoping that that experience leads well into how effective this ship can be. So the one thing I have found, particularly at lower tiers, you just have to be aggressive. I have a lot of experience and a lot of games in. I can harass people and normally get away with it. A bit of seal clubbing, as a lot of people would say. And sometimes I feel bad for doing it, but I often do after having a couple bad high tier games where I just want to laugh and I'm not playing too seriously. And right here, that's what we're doing. The three of us are both packing up, and we're just trying to have a good laugh. We all start shooting at this Wix, and he ends up running himself aground. And you can already see just how quick that reload is. You fire your torps off, 2 gun volleys, and your torps are basically ready to go again. My torpedoes miss the Wix, but I'm still putting gunfire in it, and right there you can kind of get a sense. I'm already... like 30 shells in, and I've only done 2,000 damage. This really isn't about damage. This thing is about these torps. And I managed to get myself a Mikasa up close and personal. I dodged the Wix torpedoes, and the Mikasa's going to eat some of his friendly torps. And I'm going to finish him off with another torpedo. And no sooner had my torps hit him than I already had another reload. So that's one of the things that's really strong in this. Unlike the Tachibana, which has approximately double the reload of the Smith, the Smith, you basically always have a torp at hand, like as quick as a lot of ships have guns. The difference is, it's only going to be single tubes. So we get ourselves a Qckslvrslash here, I hope I pronounced that right, and start firing. He disappears in smoke, so I just hold right click to actually keep my guns locked on the bearing, and I continue firing. And a bit of a replay bug there, because my guns don't appear to be firing in the same direction they're looking, but I'm getting some hits in. We fire torpedoes in, and Goomba is about to hit him. There he goes, getting a kill blind into the smoke. And that's something these torpedoes just allow, is you to throw them. Someone pops the smoke, throw two torpedoes into it. You're very quickly gonna have another set, and you're not gonna find yourself in a lot of situations where you wish you had another torpedo right now, because you're already gonna have it. So having capped A, I'm going towards B. We've already lost Savea, unfortunately, but I'm 2 kills in, and I'm pretty happy with that. And I'm going to try to put my guns to use. You're going to see this Tenryu is about to eat another one of Goomba's torpedoes, and just look at them all. Those are single volleys, and they're just always in the water. I put one off, I fire a volley at that Tenryu. I think about taking another, and already I've got another set. You know, there's there's ships in this game where their gun range takes longer than these torpedoes. I get 2 into the Emden. I tried to launch a second one, I guess I misclicked, and Goomba ends up finishing him off with some guns. So I'm going to sit in B and continue capping. Unfortunately for myself, there's an enemy Tachibana there. I try to get shots on him. He's only got 800, now he's got 200 health. I miss him, and I'm spotted by some of these ships behind me, and that's going to cost me my life. But in that really short game, 5 minutes, I managed to do 30,000 damage at tier 2. So that speaks to, if you put this ship in the right situation, its torpedoes can do the damage. So for the second game today, we've joined Savea partway through a game on the Solomon Islands. Right away he went into B, he participated in developing that torpedo soup, and he managed to get 1 torpedo and a couple shells into an enemy smith before a friendly unit finished him off. He's heading back in for the cap. You can see an Albany sitting there, and I'm really excited to see how this goes down. I know how much damage gets done, but this is my first time watching it. And you can see the comparative firing arcs. That forward tube can shoot nearly straight forward, whereas the rear one, it's about 45 degrees off the bow that it's capable of doing. And just look at the reload. That is what I want to impress on you with this ship. His 9.9 seconds with the tier 2 skill is a little ridiculous. The Tachibana is double that. They are twin tubes on the Tachibana, but just that ability to basically every 5 seconds put a torpedo in the water is pretty deadly. And I can see if you manage to get yourself right up close to a Kawachi, St. Louis, Mikasa, heck, I'd even say an Arkansas Beta if that kind of matchmaking still existed, you are going to wreck them.
Smoke generator started.
And you can see up in the top corner that fire that he managed to light with his guns slowly ticking away. And well, after a bit of discussion, the general consensus is the guns aren't great. They're 76.2. They're pea shooters as far as ships go. You still do have fire chances, and against lightly armored targets, you can rack up some pretty good damage because of that reload. But don't really count on the guns for much. This thing is about getting up close and personal and putting as many torpedoes into the water as you can and just laughing as you sink ships. And you can see he's sitting in smoke here. He's not even using his guns because you basically keep yourself fully occupied just firing those torpedoes. He switched to his guns, managed to get 1 volley, and its torps are already ready to go. And they're gonna consistently do more damage than the guns. But you can see, like, the first hit was 900, then he got 182, another 182. You can put some damage on, so don't ignore them, like so many people do with Japanese destroyers, where it's like they forget that they've got guns. And honestly, in tier 10, the Shimakaze with the right build can fight a gearing. So, well, every kind of class has its predilection. With the right skills and the right builds, you can overcome some of those disadvantages and really still have an effective gunship or torpedo boat. So where does this leave us with the Smith as we continue to watch this replay? Well, for $6, I don't know that you can really say you're going wrong buying this. I've played 4 or 5 games in it, and I've been laughing the whole way whether I die 10 seconds in or manage to walk away with 40, 50,000 damage. It's a ship meant kind of for the completionist. It's not really a serious grinding ship. You'll get some good money because it's a premium if you do the damage, and yes, you can put any captain into it, but no one really plays at tier 2 to rack up a massive wallet stack or train up a captain super well. Playing down at tier 2 is really about having fun and just laughing. And I would be laughing hysterically just sitting here doing this to a St. Louis. The St. Louis in seconds, a couple volleys, should be able to kill a Smith. And because he doesn't have line around the corner, Savea is just able to sit here endlessly firing torpedoes at him. And he's already managed to rack up 30,000 damage at tier 2, which is quite the impressive feat. But going back to my previous sentiments, I'd say, is this ship worth it? For grinding? No. For having a good laugh and just being a bit of a completionist, having an extra ship in your harbor, definitely. If you're in the States, it's, I think, $6. Up here in Canada, I paid $9 for it. And it just has been continuous laughter all evening driving this thing around. But it's a massive, quote-unquote massive, 6,000 damage torp into that Tenryu. And all his torpedo tubes are already reloaded. Like, there is just no peace and quiet for anyone this ship gets close enough to put torpedoes in the water to. Gets an enemy Umikaze behind him, turns, puts the torps in. The Tenryu's gone. That St. Louis is going to be gone soon. And here you really have a duel between the two, well, the great of tier 2. The Umikaze is an absolute beast. It's Seals Clubber paradise. And he's going to make this Umikaze look stupid, because he's just got continuous torpedoes. There's one kill, and it, you know, I don't even know if the Samson's expecting more torpedoes from him. He's got a set incoming, easily dodges them, and right back to the guns. Oh my god, and the Samson's gonna drive right into... Oh, never mind, he just missed it. And 50,000 damage. I know I've had games at tier 6 and 7 where I haven't managed this amount of damage. Heck, I've had tier 10 games where I haven't managed this amount of damage. And it's hard to have more fun than this. So I think that's going to be my final assessment. The ship is worth it if you've got the spare change, want to have a laugh, and just enjoy yourself. So I hope this has been at least somewhat informative and gives you an idea about what the Smith is about. And as always, I'm Qckslvrslash. If you enjoyed the video, give me a thumbs up. It helps me out. Subscribe, and I'll have another video for you guys tomorrow.